we're going to be doing a UV-friendly epoxy coating on this concrete pad. Keep watching our video, I'll show you how I do it. Hey, what's up guys? It's Jeff Lepard from DoItAllCeiling.com. Today we're going to be applying a UV-friendly epoxy coating on this concrete pad. So the first thing, we have to prep the area. So it's lightly been prepped already using a pressure washer. We're not too worried about some of the rust stains that are embedded into the concrete. We've got about 90% of them out. The only thing we have to do is we just have to grind a little bit along the edges. There was some curb work done and some of the residue of the concrete is still there. We're gonna go ahead and grind that down before we begin filling the cracks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start grinding as the first step. Okay, so all our grinding along the edges is complete. So the next step is we need to fill in the cracks that are on the concrete pad. But first, we just want to make sure that it's clean. We're just going to use our Echo blower, handheld blower, and just make sure that all the dirt and debris is free and clear. Okay, so now that the concrete pad is clean, we're ready to start our epoxy crack filling. So this we have, like the indoor epoxy on our previous videos you can check out, this epoxy is almost the same thing except it's a UV friendly epoxy. Now with that being said, if you've watched the other videos on the inside epoxy we've done actually in here, you have about 30 to 45 minutes to work with the epoxy. This stuff, it's much quicker. You have to work with the epoxy within 20 minutes. Otherwise, the entire bucket is garbage. So you have to be extremely fast, twice the speed of the inside epoxy, but the results are fantastic. And even as we get to the first coat tomorrow, the next step of epoxy, you'll see that we can actually apply another coat the same day if you really want to. It dries very fast. So with that being said, let's get started. We have a part A and a part B, just like the other epoxies, the same kind of thing. We're gonna go ahead and open up part A. Okay. And part B. It's a 50-50 ratio mix. So we're going to pour all of part B into part A, and we're going to use our mixer and give it a very good mix, and then we're going to start applying. Okay, make sure you get everything in there. Okay. Okay, so it's nice and mixed. We're just going to use this cup just to scoop it because it's very, the viscosity is very thin, but we're going to be able to work a lot faster because the viscosity is very thin. So I'm gonna take a little bit, just gonna dump a little bit in the crack and then just work it. So you wanna be careful, accurate at the same time, but speed is your #1 priority. Okay, so we're back the next day. the crack filler has dried, it's looking nice, and we're ready to apply our first coat of the new epoxy, NP1000. So the color that this client has selected is a gray. So we're using the gray NP1000 epoxy, which is UV friendly. So the first step is we're going to use these 4-liter kits. So we're going to just go ahead and mix part A, so part B into part A. And here we have a little bit of solvent. We're just going to mix a little bit of the a cup here. Once we mix part A and part B, I'm going to add about a cup of solvent just to help the bucket life. It's a little bit cold right now, and we only have about 15-20 minutes to work with each kit. We want to add a little bit more time, so by adding a little bit of the solvent, you're going to add about 8 minutes roughly to the bucket life. That way we have a little more time to apply it onto the concrete. So with that being said, I'm just going to get started mixing part B into part A. Dump it all the way in. Use our drill to mix. You want to make sure it's thoroughly mixed so you don't run into any kind of problems with inconsistent mixing. Okay, so we've mixed the epoxy part A and part B. We're just going to go ahead and put some solvent. You don't want to put too much in, just about this much. Just going to dump that in and then continue back mixing. Don't forget to hit the like button on this video. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so the epoxy's thoroughly mixed. We're going to go ahead and use our brush and cup. We're just going to start to cut around the areas we need to cut where the roller can't get. So we're going to cut around these bollards. Just going to fill up my, okay. And I have to work fast, keeping in mind that I don't have very much time with this epoxy. Okay. Just cutting around enough so that I can get my roller around. Okay. Okay, so right now we're just rolling the first coat on. I'm working really quick because the bucket life is gonna run out soon. Okay, so I recommend using a thicker nap roller when you're dealing with concrete that's not completely smooth. So I'm using a 15mm nap roller to apply this first coat of epoxy, and I'll also use the same thing tomorrow on the final coat of epoxy. So I'm just gonna keep on rolling here, and that's gonna be it for today. We'll see you tomorrow on the second coat. Okay, so we're back actually a few days later. We've had a bunch of rain for the last couple days, so we had to let that settle and dry. So now we're going to apply the final coat of the UV friendly epoxy. Everything is the same on the second coat, only that we're going to be adding this silica sand for some grip. Just to, the client wants to make sure nobody slips since it is an outdoor application. We're just going to be back rolling the sand into the epoxy, and I'll show you how I do that. So just like the first coat, I got to open this up, and I'm going to go ahead and thoroughly mix the epoxy before applying it. If you know anybody that can benefit from these videos, I'd really appreciate it if you could share this. Thanks, guys. so I'm just going to add a little bit of the solvent to extend the pot life. Okay, about this much. Just going to dump that in and continue mixing. Okay, just like the first application, we're going to go ahead and start doing our cuts along the edges. Okay, so we're just finished rolling the second application on. Now what I'm doing, I'm just sprinkling the silica sand on across the entire strip, and then I'll back roll that into the all uniform through the epoxy. Sprinkle it around. Okay, so now I'm just back rolling the sand, mixing it up all across the strip. Okay guys, that's it. We just finished applying the second coat, final coat of epoxy with anti-slip silica sand. Just want to thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that bell, subscribe to my channel, turn notifications on, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video from DudeAllCeiling.com. Take care guys, bye-bye.